So there are a lot of leaks for the new ending to Game of Thrones, the new episode, I'm sorry. Some of you won't want to see these leaks, and I'll explain why I'm going to show them. I'm just letting you know first, so no one watches this video if they don't want to know about the leaks when they go in. But I'm showing them because I've been disappointed with the last episodes, and so I feel like showing you more, a little bit of perspective on what's leaked out. Even a lot of these leaks have come true up to now, so it legitimizes them, and you can make the choice. Spoilers may be ahead, and who knows if these are right or wrong, but let me at least show them to the people that want to see them. 3 seconds until spoilers. Potential spoilers. 3, 1, here we go. So, Season 8 completely leaked plot summary episodes 5 and 6. Bran reveals that the Night King White Walker arc is far from over. The Night King's identity is discovered by Sam, which was confirmed by Bran, and Davos and the Hound go to retrieve Melisandre's body, but it's gone. Now, I don't know. That's just how it starts. Hear me out. Arya thanks the Hound for his heroics, tells her to thank him. He's the true hero, standing over Barrick's body. Tormund and the rest of the wildlings are given several northern castles, and some will start the new Night Watch. Episode 4 effectively ends their story arc. Here's one thing, though. Yesterday, which was the 5th, right? Yeah. This episode was leaked, so what some people are doing to get hype and attention is taking the leaks from episode 4 and trying to post them ahead of the episode releasing, and then leaking out other information. Now, the problem is, this has been leaked out by several leakers that seem independent. Could it be a corroborated fake out? It could, and I'm just keeping you up to date. So, as it goes on, Dany is overconfident to a fault, and when things go wrong, blames Missandei's capture and subsequent trial and death on Varys and Tyrion, and that marks the beginning of her downward spiral. Sansa, Arya, Tyrion, Varys, and Davos are informed of Jon's true identity by Bran and Sam. Cersei makes a meat shield of all of the innocent people to stop them from coming into King's Landing. Jaime apparently doesn't betray anything or anyone. In fact, he vouches for Jon to Cersei in a scene where Jon had voluntarily surrendered himself. Bran had informed Jaime off screen that Cersei's pregnancy is a ruse. He doesn't actually kill her, but sets up the trap that seals her fate. Drogon burns down most of the Red Keep. Now, that's a fact that's in several spoilers from several sources. The Drogon blast through all people. There's a scene where a horse gets ripped in half by Drogon. Cersei is watching the dragon come in, and Qyburn is like, we should leave. Clegane Bowl is nothing more than the Hound mercy killing an already mortally wounded Mountain. The Hound and his brother fight, and they end up both dying in fire by falling in. He finally takes the helmet off the ugly guy, end quote. This is another thing. These leaks are written differently from different people, but they're all kind of alluding to the same thing. The other leak that I read said that the Clegane Bowl, which is the Hound versus the Mountain, ends in both of their deaths. Daenerys' army captures Jaime. Brienne tries to talk to him, but he refuses. Sansa tells Tyrion about Jon's lineage. That's already happened. Tyrion tells Varys. That's already happened. Varys betrays Dany because he thinks Jon would be a better ruler. That's already been alluded to in episode 4. Now, remember, this was posted before episode 4 came out. But episode 4 was leaked. Like I said, the Hound, Bronn, Podrick, Gendry, and Arya kill several Golden Company and Lannister soldiers, and it says the big direwolf scenes happen. The big direwolf scenes? So I guess that's alluding to this scene where Arya is standing there, and Lymeria, her direwolf, comes out of the woods with a giant group of wolves. They all look at her, she looks at them, and then they kind of go back in. That's just the basis of what I read. When Daenerys is making her speech, everyone is mad at her. Tyrion makes some comments. He doesn't get sound, so I guess they don't play what he says. He throws his pen on the ground. She sends him to prison. I don't know that exactly Dany has Varys executed by Grey Worm. Tyrion begs her to show mercy, but she refuses. Tyrion frees Jaime to try and get Cersei out of the city. Tyrion frees Jaime to get Cersei out of the city? That makes no sense. King's Landing gets wrecked in the battle. Drogon burns Euron's fleet. Euron is severely burned by Dragonfire, and then killed by Yara in the final episode. Most of Euron's fleet and the Golden Company are wiped out in episode 5. The rest of the Golden Company ultimately turn on Cersei. Cersei goes into the chambers where you first see the catapult things, or the dragon chambers, where the head of the dragon is under the Red Keep. Jaime shows up, and they're all, oh my god, and they didn't hold each other, and everything crumbles. Drogon enters the throne room and fucks shit up. The Iron Throne gets melted by Drogon. That's actually something that's been out in multiple leaks, that Drogon, that Dany is going to have her last dragon breathe fire on the Iron Throne to melt it. Daenerys is executing everybody in King's Landing. Jon Snow and Tyrion are upset about it. Kind of like the Mad King, huh? Daenerys has Tyrion arrested to be executed for freeing Jaime. That's something I read in the other spoiler, too. Tyrion tries to convince Jon that his family will never be safe because his lineage makes him a threat to Dany's rule. Jon Snow kills Grey Worm and the other Unsullied. Jon Snow does? Jon tries to talk to Daenerys, but she justifies her actions. Jon pledges himself to Daenerys and then is forced to stab her and surrenders himself. I've read that in the other one too. Daenerys actually does die. She's killed, stabbed by Jon. She goes back to the throne room and touches the throne. Drogon just looks at Jon and doesn't kill him. Drogon either flies away with her body. Either way, Daenerys dies. He says, Game of Thrones epilogue, final part, ending 1 of 2. Sansa meets with the Iron Bank representative. Qyburn is revealed to have his own agenda. Part 2 of 3. A council of Tyrion, Davos Seaworth, Samwell Tarly, and Sir Bronn get formed to decide who the king should be. Tyrion gives a speech and everybody votes on Bran Stark to become the king of Westeros. Game of Thrones epilogue, final part, ending 3 of 3. Daenerys' body is taken by Drogon beyond the wall. Jon Snow takes the black for murdering Daenerys and joins the Night Watch again. The end. F the writers, Dan and DB, for killing this show. Everyone's asking if this is real or fake. Well, I want to give you my thoughts on it. A lot of people have read this. It's getting spread around more and more. It's being put in the comments of videos. It came originally from, I think, the Free Folk Reddit. And I think I can actually link straight to it. We'll see in a second. Because what I want to say is, this doesn't make sense. A lot of this does not make sense. Why would Jon take the black when the Night King is defeated? Unless the Night King isn't necessarily defeated. But that doesn't make sense, right? And also, it just doesn't seem like D&D would end it this way. My perception is that they're ending this because they know that they ran out of source material and they can never do justice to this story without the books there to guide them. You get me? Like, they could come up, they could have George sit down and give them all the plot points. But, people think that D&D will just take those plot points and then they'll have a hard time writing the material in between them. When they did the original series, seasons 1 through 4, they had a mountain of material to reference for every scene they wanted. And that's what was golden about that. That's what gave them... It's almost like these guys can write a story, but they can't do any more than just write the basic, thing. They can't see deeper like George R. R. Martin could. I don't know if I believe this, although I do think a couple of these things will be correct. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know when it comes to that. So maybe we could... The leaks are true. Rhaegar death scene spoiler. So here's what happened. He says, watch this. He tweets himself out. The leaks are true. Rhaegar death scene spoiler. Now here's the problem. This episode was leaked 3 hours before it aired. It's highly possible that a lot of people are crafting these leaks, mixing them with the spoiled episode so that some people will see it like, oh my god, how did they know that this would happen in episode 4? They wrote this stuff on Twitter before episode 4 even came out. Well, that's the thing. Episode 4 was leaked on... You could watch... Everybody had access to it and pictures and everything. They had everything for the majority of episode 4 hours and hours before it came out. So I do think that there's a little bit of trolling going on. So let's go over here. I think this is the Free Folk Reddit. Is it? Free Folk, yeah. Compilation for the spoilers of Game of Thrones episode 4 through 6. A lot of people are getting too upset, angry in comments, but this was highly requested by users. I compiled it. To be clear, these are leaks that could be true, and each are cited individually, but people like summaries. Now, Update 1. We were 100% right about Episode 4, and both summaries were correct. The spoiler summary has been updated to just spoilers for 5 and 6. Sources, citations, and summaries remain unchanged. That's not true, because they did not predict that the dragon would die. When this was originally written, everything was in it, and they said that they would have 2 dragons storming King's Landing, but we know that 1 dragon died. So they weren't, and they probably removed episode 4 content from this knowing that they got some stuff wrong, and it would make people think this isn't legit. I think these guys are trolling. I don't know why they would, because if they are, when 5 and 6 come out, we'll know it. But anyway, just to give you an overview of this, just because you'll see so much discussion, so many people talking and saying things about how this is a leak and was real and all this stuff. So just so that you're ready and you have the context, the more I go into this, the more I realize that this most likely is a big troll. Although I will keep my mind open. There's a lot of speculation on the ending because the Winterfell and King's Landings were shot entirely separate, and Kit, Jon Snow, shot 2 endings. Actors were supposedly flown into King's Landing set to be red herrings. Episode 4 confirmed a lot of leaks and allowed us to place high degree of confidence in Part 3, whereas before it was unconfirmed, but from a good source. People have very strong reactions to how the season ends. And look, they grayed out everything. Oh, you can review this? Oh, okay, never mind. Dany's army will capture Jaime. Dany has Varys executed, and Dany assaults King's Landing in a one-sided fight. Tyrion asks her to show mercy. Dany refuses, likely when Tyrion tries to resign his hand. Tyrion frees Jaime and tried to get Cersei out of the city. Drogon burns King's Landing and Euron's fleet. Clegane Bowl, they both die. Jaime fights Euron and kills him, but is mortally wounded in the exchange. Jaime makes it to Cersei. They die together. Dany starts executing everyone in King's Landing. Tyrion and Jon are upset, and Dany has Tyrion arrested for fleeing. We've already read most of this, so... Tyrion's trial is in the Dragon Pit is a major scene. It has no Jon, Dany, or Dragon. Sir Davos is present, not wearing the hand of the Kingpin, along with all 3 Stark kids. Samwell Tarly, Brienne, Robin Arryn, Grey Worm, and an unknown man wearing golden clothes, likely Dornish, and another unidentified man, older, short beard, and one dressed in green. This is the thing that gets me. This kind of detail. Okay? So while some of this could be fake, some of it could be real. Will be there as well. Bran will flash back to Season 1 where Tyrion Lannister told Catelyn Stark, "I never bet against my family." Tyrion is filled with anger and resentment against them because he saved them against Stannis, and they still turn on him. Thinks people of King's Landing deserved it. He saved them and were ungrateful. The trial of Joffrey's murder. Will fall to his knees in the middle of the speech, dragged down by the weight of his actions. His death was filmed in a studio, so not sure how he dies. Part 1 confirmed some 8 Exo 3 plot points. This was from 9 months ago, and they were right about the dragon breathing blue fire coming out of its neck and Jon having to fight it. The Mountain kills Missandei by beheading. Jon Snow finally sees Arya after they reach the Iron Throne in King's Landing. What do you mean? He's already seen Arya. Dany's speech infuriates people, and Tyrion tries to resign his hand to the Queen, throws Pen on the ground. Daenerys dies, and they believe Jon to be the one that stabbed her in the throne room, and as she's dying, she goes to touch the throne. The presumably last dragon flies away with her body. They nailed a lot in Episode 3, so this is not fake, but they had little to offer for upcoming episodes. It is once again confirmed Dany is killed by Jon Snow from 4 months ago. They heard by word of mouth that Dany died from a friend on another set, but all accounts point to Dany dying. It does not seem to be fake, but we can verify much right now. Besides, it came from a source who routinely finds leaks. Euron fleet takes down Rhaegal. Jaime betrays the North and Missandei is captured. Dany's army captures Jaime, and Brienne can't not reason with him. Sansa tells Tyrion that Jon is Targaryen, and he tells Varys. Varys betrays Dany because he thinks Jon would be a better king. Cersei has Missandei executed. Dany has Varys executed, and Dany assaults King's Landing in a one-sided fight. Tyrion asks her to show mercy. Dany refuses. Tyrion frees Jaime and tries to get Cersei out of the city. Drogon burns King's Landing and Euron's fleet. Clegane Bowl, they both die. Jaime fights, Euron kills him, but is mortally wounded in the exchange. Jaime makes it to Cersei, and they die together. Dany starts executing everyone in King's Landing. Dany has Tyrion executed for freeing his brother. Tyrion tries to convince Jon to turn on Dany. His family will never be safe. Jon tries to talk to Dany. She ignores him. Dude, this is depressing. Reading it is depressing. These are the Freaky leaks from 7 months ago. Freaky nailed 801 scene for scene and was wrong on who killed the Night King and how many episodes Jaime appeared in. Probably because they filmed the multiple takes. It is more of a guess based on contract pay, but he has repeatedly been an excellent source for the past season, and Night King was his first mistake. The treason betrayal scene will be revealed with 5 characters involved: Jon, Sansa, Dany, Arya, and Tyrion. Tyrion's trial in the Dragon Pit is the most important plot twist and took 5 days to film. Jon and Dany were not present. Tyrion is supposed to die, most shocking and most important part of the plot twist in the season, and this is part of the bittersweet ending. He doesn't know what Tyrion did to put him on trial. It was filmed by Wolf Unit, which does all Stark and Northeastern scenes in Belfast. Dragon Unit does all the Southern and Daenerys scenes. Fake action scenes between Unsullied and Lannister soldiers in the Dragon Pit as misdirection, meant to deceive us, and the action scene was never filmed. No stuntmen, green screens, props, or walker extras were used in the Dragon Pit, so no dragons. It is an intimate and clean scene, no CGI. There will be some snow, but most has melted, meaning winter is over when Tyrion is being judged. Sir Davos is not wearing the hand of the Kingpin and overseeing the trial alongside Sansa Stark and Arya Stark and Bran Stark. Why would they judge him to die then? Because he turned on them. Okay. Samwell Tarly is there and becomes Bran's best friend. Brienne of Tarth will be there, and even Robb and Arryn alive and present. Grey Worm will also be present. 2 new characters will be there: the golden-clothed Dornishman and an older short-beard one dressed in green. What is that linking to? Okay, just another post. Bran Stark will use a Jedi mind trick and take us back to the first season. Like with Littlefinger, recall something Tyrion said to Catelyn Stark when she had him prisoner and riding to see her sister. One sentence, quote, "I never bet against my family. Once a Lannister, always a Lannister." Tyrion will say people of King Landing deserved it, full of anger, resentment because he saved them and they discarded him. Does not know how Tyrion dies. His death was filmed in studio, not Seville. Gendry and Jaime Lannister did not film in these scenes. He thinks Jaime will die around episode 4 or only appear in 4 films based on contract pay. Kit Harington's body double was sent to Seville and did nothing as a red herring, as well as Cersei, Yara, Jaquin, and Jon Royce of the Vale. And this name, I couldn't understand the pronunciation. The wife, all did nothing and were meant to deceive. Rumor, while they were judging Tyrion, Winterfell is being reconstructed. This is another spoiler group, rarely wrong, and the user has a good track record. The Walking Dead spoiler group vouchers for somebody leaking GOT. Something happens to make the Unsullied go batshit crazy. They rampage and kill men, women, and kids and might be related to Missandei. Tyrion is arrested on Dany's command, doesn't know his fate, though he wasn't seen again after this event. Cersei does die, was not told if it was by Arya or if it is Arya disguised as Jaime. Dany turns evil, and that the actual ending is bittersweet. When asked if Jon kills Dany and the Iron Throne is destroyed, source said it was his closest to anyone has guessed. Source asked what will happen to Bronn. It is suggested that he will play a pertinent role. Dorne and House Dalt appear to be taking part in the fight for King's Landing. From Got It 1111, Missandei gets her head cut off execution style, and the Gold Company takes out one of Dany's dragons. Okay, they thought it was the Golden Company, but it was Euron. For those that don't know this user, he gave us details of the first 2 episodes of Season 7 a week before it aired, before Freaky. So let's see what some of the responses are really quick, and I'll get out of here because I know I've been recording. Wow, this is a long one. So let's get this done. Imagine building up Jaime's character arc from being self-centered, horrible person to a selfless, caring individual for 8 seasons to have him betray the North and die. He said in episode 8E2, he did what he did to protect his family, he'd do it again in a heartbeat. And if Dany turns evil early on, and he refuses to go with her. Agreed, he would do it to save his family, Tyrion too, even if it was Cersei because she's claiming she's pregnant. I think the show wants to end on the theme of family sticking together, the Starks and the Lannisters. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. Dany doesn't have a family left. She has Jon, but I think Jon chooses the Starks. Remember episode 1, Jon says, she's my family too, and Arya hugs him and says, don't forget that. It's really upsetting about Jaime going back to Cersei. I can't wait for the next 3 weeks to be over at this point. I've always loved speculating about GOT and analyzing potential leaks, but all of this is bloody depressing. If these leaks are true, they're really messed up their story horribly. I'm not sure which character would be happy after these sordid soap opera sequence of events. I bet these are fake leaks, red herrings. HBO staff are reading this with a six-pack and popcorn, having a good laugh. If not, I wish you all good fortunes in the wars to come. All I gotta say is, none of what I've read is bittersweet. Bittersweet is the ending is good for people that are left. And the bitter part, that's what the sweet is. And the bitter would be, we have to lose some good people to do it. You get me? This isn't bittersweet. This is depressing. This is subverting our expectations. Let's just cross our fingers. Let's hope this doesn't happen, and let's hope it redeems. They can still, you know what? Maybe. I don't know if they can. Maybe they can redeem the last 3 or 4 episodes. We've all been... The first 2, we were like, okay, whatever. But the war for Winterfell fucked us all up in the head. Episode 4 put salt on the wound. Maybe 5 and 6 come out of nowhere and redeem it all. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I'm being too mushy or that I'm hoping too much. That's what I'm known for. Like, subscribe, UNIRock out.